With the anniversary update coming today, the new selection box and structure decks were leaked this morning, so once again it's time to look over some new cards. Starting with the freebie, Monster Reborn is an excellent card, though I don't think it'll be too impactful here due to it being a one-of whose application is kind of limited. It will see play for sure, as a lot of decks are currently missing a limited one piece and could benefit from Grave Recursion, but it will not be as meta-defining like some previous anniversary releases have been. Moving to the selection box, the big topic of discussion leading up to it was Blackluster Soldier Envoy of the Beginning, as this one in particular had been leaked on the Duel Links Facebook page a few days ago. While a solid boost to Thunder Dragons and a great all-around card, BLS is most likely not enough to bring back Thunder Dragons to relevance, though will still be a solid addition. Banishing removal is powerful, although Chaos Sorcerer still sees no play, and the double attacking is a great option to have, but realistically it is not better than Levianeer, which is most likely why it got limited to 3 recently. We'll have to see if this is enough to bring back Thunder Dragons, though I'm a bit skeptical there. DDD Destiny King Zero Laplace feels like an actual pendulum boss monster for the strategy, giving a monster that attacks for twice the defending monster's attack, but feels weird to use since you have to sacrifice a DDD to use it. The problem though is that DDD doesn't need another boss monster for it to be relevant, and needs their better enablers, which this isn't. True King Agnimazud the Vanisher gives fire decks banishing removal, which might be useful for a deck like Fire King, especially since he destroys 2 fire monsters to summon itself, triggering their effects. While I doubt this will be enough to bring back Fire Kings as a deck, it is a solid addition to the deck for sure, and might have another deck it fits better in, as you only have to destroy 1 fire monster for his summon requirements, with the other monster being able to be any attribute. This might have use alongside Yang Zings in particular because of this, and that his effect will trigger their summon effects if popped on field. Coach Captain BEARMAN and Coach King Giant Trainer are clearly a package here, able to turn any 2 level 4 Beast Warriors into the rank 8 to draw a card and burn the opponent for 400 if it was a monster, locking you out of the battle phase. Realistically, neither one of these will see any kind of play. 3 level 8s is a lot of commitment for something that just gets you a draw and locks you out of the battle phase. Apprentice Illusion Magician is an attack-boosting hand trap for dark spellcasters, or can be special summoned to search a Dark Magician, which is very useful for plays with navigation. We'll come back to this with the later Dark Magician cards, but for now note that this is absolutely necessary for any new Dark Magician deck. Bottomless Trap Hole is the staple card of the selection box, and realistically is the reason you're going in if not for a specific deck. While there's not a specific deck that's going to run this 100% of the time over Floodgate, Bottomless is a really powerful trap that should not be underestimated. It won't be as omnipresent as Book of Moon was, but is still something to consider digging for, being an excellent removal option in certain metas. Pendulum Reborn is way too slow to see any real play. This one's a hard skip. Ignister Prominence and Magister Paladin are the other 2 extra deck Draco Slayer monsters to match Dinosaur power from the previous box. While both are great options for Pendulum decks, the primary issue for them at the moment is the lack of Luster Pendulum the Draco Slayer, which is usually the prime enabler of Ignister Prominence. While there's a chance they'll see play now with Master Pendulum, it's not likely that they'll do anything until Luster Pendulum is added. Infernity Doom Archfiend is extremely interesting for an Infernity deck, as it lines up perfectly with the usual loop the deck likes to perform with Archfiend and Beetle, allowing you to pop a monster in that loop and gives one of your ending synchros 2 attacks. While it won't make Infernity top tier, it's absolutely a great inclusion to the deck as it currently sits. Finally, Daigusto Phoenix is a double attacking 1500 rank 2, making it easily the best offensive rank 2 we currently have, matching Crumble logos. Overall, the selection box has a lot of interesting cards for specific strategies in it, but really only has a couple of generic cards worth digging for. If you're going to do any kind of digging, Bottomless is a 3-of to shoot for. Beyond this, BLS and Apprentice Illusion are the only others I'd personally go for 3 copies of, specifically because of their usefulness in their own strategies. All of the remaining cards are 1 to 2-ofs at most, with the sole exception of maybe Agnimazud. Moving into the new structure deck, Sword of Paladin definitely has interesting cards to discuss. The boss monster of the deck, Dark Paladin, is not one of them, however. Mixing Dark Magician into a Buster Blader deck is going to be too bricky to make them work, and the new skill meant to enable it, Master of Fusion Paladin, is extremely awkward to use due to making you run essentially a Highlander deck outside of your Dark Spellcasters, which includes your spell and trap cards like Dark Magical Circle, Magician Navigation, and the new cards, as well as locking you out of using other fusions with it, meaning the only thing you're summoning with the added polymerization is Dark Paladin. Realistically, I don't see Dark Paladin doing anything in particular. Strength and Unity is a decent option, banishing a card from field or grave on fusion summon, and recycling a normal monster after the fact. The instant comparable that comes to mind is Dark Magical Circle, activating for fusion summons instead of Dark Magician summons. While it is decent in that regard, the only way it realistically sees play over the latter is in a deck dedicated to using the Dark Magician fusions like Dark Cavalry and Amulet Dragon. Destined Rivals is a board-wide breakthrough skill, which is actually pretty decent. The primary issue for this is its speed as a trap card, as realistically by the time the conditions are all fulfilled to use, any relevant monster effects you'd be negating have already gone off. Finally, Ebon High Magician is the highlight new card in my opinion, letting you use quick play spells and traps from the hand while on field, summoning a Dark Spellcaster from deck and popping a card on field on destruction. While Dark Magician decks are the immediate thought process there, where I think it'll actually see some use is in Pendulum Magician decks, as 2 level 7 spellcasters is surprisingly easy to achieve in that deck with Dragon Pit and Dharma Eye Magician, although its floating effect is a little less easy to use there. It might compete for usage with Ebon Illusion Magician, but would still fit nicely in the extra deck as an option. Overall, the structure deck does seem to have decent potential, though I'm personally unsure if it'll do anything major with the currently available cards. The biggest saving grace to this is actually Apprentice Illusion Magician, who alone might actually spark some interesting ideas for the deck as either a Dark Magician enabler, a 2000 attack boosting hand trap, or in her own specialized deck as a rank 6 tool, as some have already speculated. The prime takeaway for these is this: if you have the money and you really do want Bottomless, BLS, or Apprentice, go for them. They each have their own uses in various decks that'll see some range of play, though top tier contention is not really the main takeaway. The new structure deck has interesting pieces in play, but suffers from a lot of blockers, primarily in the restrictions of the skill. I personally don't see myself going deep into the selection box, but will probably dig enough to get some copies of Bottomless to play with. Thank you all for watching to the very end of this video. If you enjoyed this content, please be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more like it. If you want more updates on the behind the scenes for these, or just into what's going on with me, be sure to follow me on Twitter or check out my Twitch streams. Both links are in the description below. Thank you all again, and I'll see you next time.